Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resilience Element Show. I am so happy and blessed to have an amazing guest with us today. And if you remember, we are talking about the Resilience Element Formula. And the Resilience Element Formula has 5 components. One is clarity. The second is conviction. Third is certainty. Fourth is commitment. And today we're going to talk about courage. And I'm so pleased to introduce you to Kristen Hicks. Kristen Hicks is a spiritual profiler, a Reiki Master, a mentor, a speaker, someone unbelievable that I think can teach you so much about courage. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you so much for having me today.
We're pleased to, I know that you have so many good stories. And by the way, she has 4 daughters. So talking about resilience, I'm sure she has other stories about that. To start with right now, Kristen, what would be the concept for you on courage?
Well, Francis, for me, courage is something that I don't know that they have a really great perspective of what courage is. Courage, a lot of people think that it is something that firemen do or policemen do. I was a firefighter medic for 10 years, and yes, that was courageous. My husband, he's a police officer. That's courageous. But the thing that I really want people to hear and want people to know is that everyone is courageous in their own way. And courage, by definition, is the ability to do something that frightens oneself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what courage is. So there are times when people have a hard time getting up in the morning and going about their day for fear of not being good enough or not knowing what to do next, or going to work and having to provide for employees as CEOs and business owners. There's so many ways that we as everyday human beings walk out in courage. I know for me, a struggle that I've had in the past was a fear of death. I so many times in my life have come into this contact with a near-death experience. Starting from the very young age of 4, I was hung from a ski lift with my skis through the slats of the chairlift. And when my father got off the chairlift, I did not. And I continued around and was hung upside down, 2 poles down, 50 feet in the air, holding on by my binding and my boot. And from that time on through my life, I had many challenges with near-death experiences. And that for me brought up a panic and a very strong fear of going about my day, about waking up and when my life was going to really end. And I started to live like I wasn't living. And it was really hard. I kind of want to tell you this story. My grandfather and I, we were really, really close. And he had had a heart attack and was living on 30% of his heart. I don't know if you've ever been there where you have a family member that you've been really close with that has either had a heart attack or been in the hospital near death, and it scares you. It shakes you. It saddens you. It can do all of these different things. But for me, it put me into a panic because my mortality and my life was being put in check because someone who was so dear to me had had this heart attack and was living on 30% of his heart, and we knew he was going to die. So my grandfather had all of his children and all of us cousins we each got to have one-on-one time with him while he was in the hospital. And that was really, really dear to me and really important. And it was that pivotal moment, that life-changing moment when I got to sit with him and I asked him, I got to ask him, "Are you afraid?" And he laughed, he chuckled, he said, he was just, so nonchalant about it. And he just sat back and he said, "Chrissy, of course I'm afraid, but I know this isn't the end." And Francis, I have to tell you, 6 months later, on February 5th, my birthday, he passed away at 6:18 in the morning. I had been up all night long, and I mean all night long, with a sick child. My husband had worked a graveyard shift, and he had come home, and the phone rang. And I knew nobody calls me at that time of the morning. I have 4 kids. If you're calling me at that time of the morning, we got problems. Like, don't be calling me at 4 a.m. And I stopped, and it was like my whole world stopped, and I knew something was wrong. And my husband said, "The phone's for you. It's your mom." And I had that panic, that tightness. And I took that deep breath and I'm like, "Mom, like, what's up?" And she said, "Your grandfather, I think he just took his last breath." And it was like nothing I'd ever felt before. It was hard and it was sad and it was surreal. Like, how did this happen on my birthday, the day of my birth, the day I'm supposed to celebrate my life?
Yeah.
He left this world. My biggest fear, death, on my birthday.
Yeah. Good gift.
Right? So if I fast forward a little bit, we went to the funeral. We went about our life. We remember him every day. But about 6 months down the road, I was really struggling. I was really struggling. I was facing depression. I was facing struggles in my marriage. I was facing struggles with raising my children, whether or not I was a good mom, whether or not I was showing up, doing what I was supposed to be doing, whether I was a good business owner. And I went to his grave and I brought him an iced coffee. And I sat there and I cried and I wept. And I took my hands and I pounded the grass, screaming and yelling, because I couldn't figure out why all of this had been happening. And as I sat up and I sat there, this dog came out of nowhere. Okay, we're in a cemetery. Remember, dogs, like, not allowed, not okay, don't bring animals into the cemetery. This dog out of nowhere showed up in the cemetery, and it was a German Shepherd. And all growing up, my grandparents, they always had German Shepherds, which is really like just a bizarre coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
But it sat next to me and it stood just like a guardian over me. And I put my hand out and I literally put my hand on this dog's shoulder. And I just felt this calm and this peace. And I couldn't understand it, but I was like, wow, how do animals always know? Have you guys ever had like that cat or the dog when you're really upset or you're down? It's like your animals know. They come and they cuddle you, or they make you feel better, or they do dumb crap that you're just like, okay, really? But it makes you laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that animal was that comfort for me. And I was like so baffled by this gift of comfort and peace. I ended up leaving, and thank God for social media. I went to Facebook and I was like, ding, 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 ding. You guys, you'll never believe what happened to me. I was at the cemetery and I was crying and I was having a hard time. Now, mind you, this was on social media. So of course I couldn't really post that I was screaming my brains out, right? Mm-hmm. But I was. And I said, how is it that animals always know how to comfort you? And I hit post. And within minutes, my aunt responded to me. So my aunt, my grandfather's daughter, says this. She said, Kristen, in all caps, big, huge letters, Kristen, the night we were in the hospital with Grandpa, he recorded stories that he wanted us to know. And one of the stories was when he was a young boy, he had to walk home to and from school, and it was dark, and he was terrified. And he said that he prayed that he would be protected. And out of nowhere, a German shepherd appeared and would walk him home on multiple occasions. She said, Kristen, as he said this, he wept because he was at that time, he knew that he was sent an angel to protect him, to guard over him, and that he was not alone. What are the coincidences? What could be the coincidence that a German shepherd appeared at your grandfather's grave? That, my friend, is priceless. And I have to tell you, Francis, every day, every one of us walks out in courage. We do it by being fearless. We do it by going out and facing and having strength in the face of pain, in the face of grief. We get to be courageous even when we don't believe we really are. And we're never alone. That is the real story of being courageous. It's stepping forward when you have that clarity and that conviction in your heart, that certainty, and when you're committed to life, even if it's just life, getting up and doing a day-to-day life, being committed, having all of those things, and then taking one step in front of the other. Mm-hmm. That is courage. It's dauntlessness. It's fearlessness. It's bravery, valor. It's so many things. It's boldness. It's to be bold in what you're doing, even if that's getting up and taking a breath the next day.
What I really like about the story, one thing that I remember is then when your godfather, not your godfather, that's Godfather is one of my model as well. That's so your grandfather told you, of course I'm scared, of course. And that's okay, right? And that's the thing, is that for some of the people, they might say, well, Kristen, I mean, I've tried everything. I did it all. I know where I'm going. I know why I'm doing it. I'm certain about it. I did it all.
Mhm.
but I'm facing that wall, whatever the wall is. That could be a failure in your business, a failure with a relationship, a failure with a friendship, a failure with money, whatever that is. I tried it all. And a little bit like your grandfather, it's saying, yeah, no, it's scary. It's scary to take the next step. But you do have that seed inside you of courage, and you're not alone. You have
Correct.
other people that can help you. Raise your hand if you have to. And it's also being able to recognize, being mindful about that present moment of saying, yeah, I am scared. I'm not pretending I'm not. I'm just taking that next step. And I know you've got a phenomenal tool talking about steps and quick things that people can do if they're in that
Absolutely.
moment.
Absolutely.
Can you share what that tool is? Because I think it's really good.
Actually, it's one of my favorite tools to teach. And it is called the find it and flip it method. And what we do is we do a lot of brain training. So when we work with different clients, we really work on taking whatever that wall is, that block, that cord, that chain, whatever that is holding you back or not allowing you to overcome. And we take that negative, we find it, and then we flip it into a positive. So, what I'm going to ask you guys to do, actually, if you wouldn't mind participating with me for just a second, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen,
Let's do
or
it.
use your
Do it.
computer, whatever you want. And I would like you to take whatever you think that biggest fear is right now, a big fear. And I want you to write it down on a piece of paper. I'm going to give you just a second. And while you do that, I want you to just take a few deep breaths so we can just center ourselves. So write down that fear, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and really get that down there. And
Okay.
once you've finished, what I want you to do is I want you to go back through and find the negative in the sentence. So on a daily basis, I have 4 daughters that love to pull me in every direction. So sometimes my reality is like, oh my gosh, it's killing me. And I can feel that way, right? I can feel like, okay, I'm being
I
torn
can
every
tell you're
direction.
pulling yourself the hair out of it.
Totally. It totally is. The hair, it kind of goes its own way. It's all the energy for my kids. But when I say, oh, it's killing me, what my brain is hearing and what my spirit energetically is hearing is that of negative connotation and a low vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does is it doesn't allow me to be at that higher vibration, that higher energy level, which is what we talk about a lot with my clients, raising that vibrational energy so that you can overcome, oversee, do in your day-to-day life. So what we're going to do is my negative in that is they're killing me. Okay, so killing is my negative. It's really teaching me patience, right? So I'm learning to be more patient. So instead of it saying it's killing me, it's teaching me to give grace. And that is raising that vibrational level. So you go from having a struggle, which we all have, okay, but it's a matter of perspective. So we go from having a struggle to having a teaching or a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
So I can either say I'm struggling by it's killing me, or I can say, okay, I am learning how to have more patience, show more grace. Sometimes words that you wouldn't think are negative are really actually negative. And I'll give you an example. Wish.
Yeah.
The word wish. And you say to me, why is wish bad? It's something that I wish for. Well, what it's really telling you on an energetic side, it's something that you're yearning for that you don't have, that you may never get.
You feel that you might not be able to get, so you just
It
wish.
may not be attainable, so you just wish. So that would be a negative.
I am learning. I am
Yeah.
learning because at the end of the day, when we hit that wall, whatever it is that it is an opportunity to learn something. It is an opportunity to continue no matter what. How many stories have we heard of people that got the nose and the nose and the nose and the nose? I mean, it would be a bit stupid if you do exactly the same thing. That would be called insanity. And everybody heard that from Einstein. But,
Yeah,
when
doing the
you,
same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is insanity.
exactly, right? So that's great. You face the wall. Now, can you move to the right? Can you move to the left? Can you just do something different? You learn. What did you learn from it? And then continue, keeping in mind that you're certain about it, keeping in mind that you know why you're doing it. That's going to pull you in the right direction. And if it's sometimes, and I think it happens, it's normal to be mindful and say, yeah, you know what, I'm struggling right now. And now I'm learning about XYZ. It's and do you have other tricks aside from mindfulness as an example to really raise the vibration? Because I think that's another important point. So we're talking about being mindful, learning that it's a learning experience. And from listening to you, I've noticed that you're saying raising that level of vibration is very important. Could you say why? And what are the other tricks that we can use to elevate our vibration?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'm going to just touch base on the energy aspect of it. On a cellular level, we're all energy. Everything we do is energy. Everything we say has energy. And if you say to me, you're full of crap, I'm going to just ask you one question with that. Okay. Have you ever walked into a room? Okay. And there's all these people around, or maybe there's just one or two people, and you're like, oh, I could cut the tension with a knife in here. That is energy.
Okay.
Okay. So we've all felt it. We all know that we've got energy going on all around us. Okay. So being able to raise that vibrational level, to be able to lift it up within our own selves, carries into what we do for our business, carries into who we are as human beings. And there are many different ways that you can raise that vibrational level. One way is using different modalities, whatever resonates with you. We use Reiki for my clients, which is an energetic, non-invasive healing method. We use essential oils. We use nutrition. We use the power of thought, being mindful. There are many, many, many different ways. But I think the best way to start at ground zero with raising that energetic level is connection and connecting to someone. And I think that that's why I love the resilience element so much, is because it's connecting all of these different people from all of these different walks of life that are figuring out or knowing that they have clarity in something, that they're convicted, they have a purpose, and maybe there's someone that's figuring out their purpose. But we're all like-minded in our passion about fulfilling these different elements within this resilience element, to have certainty within ourselves or our business or the next direction to go. To be committed each day to put one step in front of the other, and to have that courage to keep doing what we're doing, whether it's small courage by taking, one step in front of the other, or really making these courageous, heroic, life-changing events.
Thank you.
It's being connected, honestly, Francis. Look who you're connecting yourself with. Connect yourself with other people that have that higher vibration, because you will automatically start lifting yourself
So
when you
true.
connect with those people. So
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
biggest advice, connect.
Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, it's so right. And the science of positive psychology is saying it, the social connections is one of the biggest element that raises our happiness and well-being. That's one. And I can totally relate with being in the right environment with the right people, or people that are already having a high level of vibration. I don't want to say infectious, it's a wrong word, but it's so
It kind of is. It kind of is.
It is. That's why I just changed it. I think it's enlightening to just be with those people. And the funny thing, I think I mentioned to you before in a previous conversation, is that they've made, like, there's a supercomputer called a quantum computer. That works
Yes.
so well in an environment where everything's controlled. There's no signal, no bad signals, no interactions from the outer environment. But the very interesting thing is that when you put that same quantum computer, which, by the way, acts as, I think, 100 million times faster than an ordinary computer, when you put that same quantum computer in an environment with noise, with everything around, that acts exactly as an ordinary computer.
Yep.
Maybe right now some people are struggling, and are you in the right environment? By calling to ask, raise your hand, ask someone that you know will comfort you, will raise you to a different level. Go play the sports that you love to play with, people you love to be with. A dog, just pet your dog. There's so many ways, like you said, right, to raise that level, because the right environment will make you so much more courageous. And that's really what I hope we provided together, co-creating that interview, so that we are raising, all of us, that level of energy that we all need to be more resilient, to have that resilience element inside us.
Yeah. And you know what, Francis, I'm going to kind of put this out there. So hopefully, I know I'm definitely speaking for me, and I'm hopefully speaking for you as well when I go out on this limb. But if there are people out there that say, I don't have that person in my life that has that resilience element, or that has that ability to give you that boost, I'm here. Message me, Kristen Hicks at unapologeticallyu.com. Go to Francis. He'll help you. He'll help you get connected. Reach out, because if you feel like you don't have that person, I know for me, and I think I'm speaking for you as well, Francis, raise your hand and come to us, because we want to help you, because we're one person, but we can have this ripple effect. And when you get to do this yourself, you too will cause a ripple effect, and you will help others. And that's what it's all about. That bottom line, that's what it's about, is helping each other.
Thank you so much for the reminder. And I know that you're providing complimentary session in the beginning, and that's a great way to just know how you work. And I do the same. So thank you so much, Kristen. We'll be in touch soon. We'll redo that again. We'll re-inspire again. Thank you for your time. Thanks for the great reminders. Thanks for the story. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Kristen.
You're so welcome, Francis.